Political parties' activities are getting more and more intense, and here on GhanaWeb TV, we bring you this week's brief of the Ballot Briefing with me, Patricia Roxanne Hammond. And on to our first story, a High Court in Accra has reportedly dismissed an application by the flag bearer of the People's National Convention challenging the order of his disqualification from contesting in the 2024 presidential election by the Electoral Commission. The court on Monday, 21st, ruled that the disqualification of Bernard Mornah by the EC was lawful. But speaking to the media after the ruling, Mr. Mornah's lawyer, Harold Atugba, said the judge's ruling was based on Exhibit 2, which was not supposed to be the case.
As you can tell, the judgment was read in open court. We are yet to apply and get a certified true copy of the judgment, study it and take the next course of action. But just sitting in court and listening to the reasons that were given, it was clear that the reasons were being based on Exhibit 2, which was the letter that was written on the 13th of September 2024, which had particulars of the issues the Electoral Commission had. Our contention before the court has always been consistent that the disqualification of Mr. Mornah and the PNC was based on Exhibit BAM4, which was written by the returning officer for presidential elections, the second respondent. And the reasons in that communication on the 20th of September had nothing to do with the letter written on the 13th of September, which alleged certain incomplete errors. Mind you, those errors were duly communicated to our clients. They corrected them and resubmitted it to the EC that acknowledged that indeed the errors had been corrected. So the only reason for the disqualification of the first applicant, Mr. Mornah, and the PNC was that they had detected alleged errors and omissions and never gave any particulars. But the judge did not base his reason on that exhibit.
Still on the PNC, the flag bearer, Bernard Mornah, has vowed to take the legal battle concerning the disqualification from the 2024 presidential election to the Supreme Court. According to him, the judge did not look at the case that was brought to the court. Bernard Mornah, who was speaking to journalists after the dismissal of his lawsuit challenging his disqualification by the Electoral Commission of Ghana, explained that his lawyers will immediately apply for the judgment and critically study it for their next line of action.
The Electoral Commission just sat somewhere, claimed that they have a technical and IT committees. Doesn't the PNC have an IT committee? Don't we have an IT person? So if the EC was determining issues of IT, then our IT person should have been there so that they will be able to iron out the IT inadequacies that they are talking about. None of these things were brought to our attention, and then the judge will come and grant the wishes of the court, the EC. We think that justice has been grossly traversed, and we will go to the Supreme Court. There cannot be doubt that this is like a calculation to ensure that the people's choice of the president is not on the ballot.
Moving on and still on election, the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Bawumia, has continued his momentum on day one of his Volta Regional tour on Sunday. Bawumia has so far toured over 200 constituencies in his latest constituency-focused round of campaigns, and his entry into the Volta region marks his 13th region so far as December elections approaches. The NPP flag bearer began his Volta Regional tour in Hohoe, where the NPP holds its only parliamentary seat in the Volta region, with Minister for Railways Peter Amanu as the MP. Right from his entry into the town and throughout his activities, Dr. Bawumia was well received by enthusiastic supporters, culminating in a massive rally dubbed Community Connect to end his tour of the constituency. If Hohoe was massive, then Kpando was on fire. Not even the heavy downpour could deter people from coming out. And still on elections, the capital city of the Ashanti region on Sunday, October 19th, witnessed a massive crowd as members of the Movement for Change, led by their flag bearer, John Alan Kwejo Chermanting, staged a health walk in Kumasi. Dubbed the Afrafranto Mega Victory Walk, the event brought together hundreds of Movements for Change supporters who walked through the principal street of Kumasi, commencing from the cultural center of the Kumasi City Mall. Following the successful walk, Mr. Chermantain in a social media post said the numbers witnessed during the walk are a clear indication of an end to the dominance of the NPP in the Ashanti region and the duopoly of the two leading political parties. And I quote, "Thank you for the incredible people of the Ashanti region for turning out in your numbers today at Afrafranto Mega Victory Walk. Your energy and unwavering belief in our cause have made it clear Ashanti is home and we are ready for change. This election is not about MPP or NDC. The era of duopoly is over. The movement for change is here to stay, and together we are breaking the cycle and bringing real progress to Ghana. The support we've seen today proves that the people belong to us. Thank you for standing with us. Together, we'll make history," he wrote. It's 44 days to the 2024 December elections, and Parliament has indefinitely adjourned due to some decisions by some members of the House to contest in the upcoming parliamentary elections on tickets different from the ones that brought them to Parliament in 2020. MPP Agona West Member of Parliament Cynthia Morrison, NDC Amenfi Central MP Peter Yao Kwache Aka, and MPP Suhum MP Kwejo Asante have decided to contest the elections as independent candidates after losing their party primaries, while independent Fomena MP Andrew Esiama Amwako has decided to contest on the tickets of the NPP. The Speaker declared their seat vacant on Thursday, October 17, automatically making the NDC the majority in Parliament, but the NPP filed an application at the Supreme Court and the court stayed the Speaker's ruling. My colleague George AC gives us a brief on what has been happening after this.
So what has happened since the court's decision is that on Monday, the decision was served on the Speaker of Parliament through the Legal Department of Parliament. And so on Tuesday, the House was expected to sit, and as to whether how the Speaker's reaction or to the ruling was going to be was in anticipation. And the NDC, despite the court ruling, was still maintaining that they remain the majority in the House. The MPP, on the other hand, also asserted that due to the court ruling, they are back in the majority. So on Tuesday, when the House convened, the NDC went to sit on the right-hand side of the Speaker, which hitherto would have usually been occupied by the MPP caucus. Having done that, the MPP caucus stated that they were not ready to engage in any business of the House unless the Speaker had explicitly indicated that he's abiding by the ruling of the Supreme Court. So when Speaker walked into the chamber to commence business, he said he had an official communique to issue, and then he went ahead to cite articles 102 and 104 of the Constitution, as well as order 64(1) of the Standing Orders of Parliament, and stated that they, by virtue of the presence of the NDC caucus, they had the required numbers to commence business and engage in debate and all that, but then they did not have the required quorum to take decision. And citing that and other factors, including the court's decision and everything around this whole issue of the declaration of vacant seats, he's suspending the House indefinitely. That is based on Standing Order 59(1). He adjourned sitting indefinitely. This was very much welcomed by the majority, who described the decision by the Speaker as fantastic. The NDC on the MPP, on the other hand, felt like the Speaker did not treat them right and could have just abided by or stated that he is going by the ruling of the Supreme Court and recalling these affected MPs back to the House. Then fast forward less than 24 hours after that, the MPP caucus invoked Article 112 Clause 3 of the 1992 Constitution and Standing Order 53 of the Parliament and sent a memo to the Speaker asking for a recall of the House to conduct urgent businesses. And they said they needed the House to to engage in some urgent government businesses, which included the consideration of some tax exemptions for some companies under beneficiaries under the One District, One Factory initiative, as well as the consideration of a 250 million loan for under the Ghana Stability Fund, as well as the consideration of several bills, including the budget bill. So the Speaker, upon receipt of this memo, is required to respond or recall the House in about 7 days. We are yet to hear from the Speaker, and that is where we are now.
And here's what the Speaker said before indefinitely adjourning the House.
By Article 102 of the Constitution, 1992, and Order 64.1 of the Standing Orders of Parliament, I note that we currently have a quorum to transact business, but not to take decisions. I want to read the said Article 102 of the Constitution. It reads, a quorum of Parliament, apart from the person presiding, shall be 1/3 of all the members of Parliament. As presently constituted, the numbers definitely is far above 1/3 of the members of Parliament. But by Article 104, the numbers are not sufficient for us to take decisions. Consequently, in view of the current circumstances, the fact that there is a question on the composition and constitution of Parliament, and having regard to the public interest and the exigencies of the state of affairs in Parliament, I will proceed to, in accordance with Standing Orders 59, adjourn the House indefinitely. That is sine die.
Constituents of Asokwa in the Ashanti region have stated that even though their Member of Parliament is yet to meet the expectations after winning the 2020 parliamentary elections, they will still vote for her in the 2024 parliamentary elections. They were speaking to my colleague Ernestina Sewa Asante on campaign trail.
Moempi mama pat.
Ai, yenipa ma Patricia PJ.
Eni onim.
Ahon fedua papa bi. Oba na nimu tie, oba onim nyansa, oba wa kukuduro. Ai, ye dan no pa, wa ya de chapatere mamu ha, wa ma yanya ekwan no fefefe. Na kane no na emfuturo nko a. Na makas no kwentimi mfa kuro nim. Enso na darment say ya na artifact. So what you say?
Me de mehu se wa say tunsuo. E wo chapatere state ho.
Apart from that, then why?
Me de ni asotef no nko a we ye na tunsuo no nko na mehu, but if you kon de me hunu hwe bi mu de.
Na street light eh.
Oh, street light ni de. Tana o tana mu na mehu bi na address ni de. Street light is bi ni musa.
Bema, de metre ni say abato na ye abato no. Ye hie say no mum ba ye mra ma ye. Enu mum wode. Enu mum wode pa. Nti ye pe de beto aba enu mum ba gugu ama ye. Say ye di dwa betimi akon wano ama ye. Esi ayete wo emu aye di nti ye ton ade kra enkoso ye nto ade. Oh, ye hade. Ye de obia ebo no ho modern ye ukasa MP maye ma wa enye ye chese we me kasa wo maye ma me we nso bakasa be ye ma me nti ni nyina ne se wa wo be bo ho modern se wo be ye wa ade a ebe bo
me adwuma no to ya me hu dwuma be na o ye wa ha me hu dwuma be na o ye wa ha
we be kasa wa ye bus terminal ama se ne amote mu wa ha se
wan kafra o wa ye adwuma we kama e ye fe na ka bia enye adwuma wa ha wu na be fa wo nan si fom e be gyina so na wo fa wo nan si fom a e ne be ye adwuma wasi ha kama ye nyina en ka se enye wo eye beda gu se si aye gyina ho e du yesu a ni afre ni akolodu agogo anta ni akọ aprabon aha de gyina ho kwa nipa ba kokura ni ho ba hwe taka wo ba hu ka o ka ni nyina askata lady wu na ye MP wa ha wu na be force wa ha be gyina.
And this is how we end today's briefing on GhanaWeb TV. Join us next week for more updates. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to GhanaWeb TV. My name is Patricia Roxanne Hammond.